Delighted to welcome to the program for the very first time, Mr. Mike Pack. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He's a 25-year-old television veteran who produced primarily daytime talk and primetime reality programs. In addition, he created 6 reality programs that sold and aired on primetime cable networks and digital streaming. Some notable credits include Jenny Jones, CBS's Big Brother, as well as numerous projects on VH1. And today, Mike works outside the entertainment business. He spends most of his free time researching and exposing the corruption in Hollywood and its links to the deep state. I see the word Hellywood. Yeah, Hellywood defector. Twitter post about Gloria Allred, Luciferian Hollywood from the Chicago TV perspective. Hollywood is linked to deep state agendas, false narratives, Epstein, linchpin. Who is Robert DeNiro? Let's find out when we talk to him. Let's do that now. Mike Pack, welcome to the program. Great to have you here. Thanks.
John, amazing to be on your program. I'm a big fan. I always said that you were a handsome Larry King of the red pill.
right. And a Gentile.
There you go. And you said 25-year-old. I wish. 25-year veteran. I'm 47, so But I would love to be 25. That'd be amazing.
Well, look, I misread it.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I wrote it wrong.
Well, you're a 25-year veteran. You're not 25 years old. You know.
There you go.
The little thing went off in my head when I said that. He's not 25, but I just kept going.
Thank you. We just should have just kept it, I guess. Well, yeah, thank you for the intro. Yeah. So you were asking about the Gloria Allred. Is that what you were starting with?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. You were 22 when you got into the business, yeah? Yeah,
22 years old. I just left in April of this last year, or April of 2019 was my last job, editing something for ZZ Top, for the lead singer of ZZ Top, in a reality show with him and his wife, like a sizzle reel. So that was like my last hurrah in the business.
And the production was about what?
It was basically, it was a show about the lead singer of ZZ Top. Billy and his wife wanted to build a Mexican town in their backyard. So it was like a sizzle reel. So I cut together this whole piece with them, and it was really cool. I was so surprised that it didn't sell, but that was my goodbye, so to speak.
ZZ Top.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You got to tell me, what are those guys like? Because one of my favorite songs is, well, I got a lot of favorite songs. Billy Gibbons actually taught me how to play guitar, unbeknownst to him.
Wow, you must be good.
Well, I started listening to the first album, and I liked it so much, you know. And then I noticed on the back there was the notation, this is a real record produced by real musicians, no synthesizers. Well, they went to synthesizers later, but at first it was just a nice 3-piece.
Yeah.
I remember there was a guy named John Stuckey that was on tour with them for a while. And I remember seeing this disgusting Dayglow green, you know, bless them, we drove what we had in those days. I had a 66 Grand Prix, of course it belonged to my parents, but it was my car, right? No. Said ZZ Top on this really bizarre lime green van, and they had this guy that sat out there and play acoustic guitar and drink on stage named John Stuckey. So we go way back, but that got to get paid. The boys got $25. I'm gonna dress them, yes, you know that thing. It's like,
my favorite song. That's your favorite song?
Gots to get paid.
Yeah, I love that song. That was my favorite ZZ Top song. I've used it I use others as a reel, not that one, but that's hilarious. You know, I have to say I've never met them. I was given all the footage, so that would have been a pretty interesting celebrity meeting, because I play guitar too. I'm a big fan.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they're about as normal as it gets, but I can't imagine after this many years of being in the music business and on the road and all of that, they're normal. I'm thinking they might not be normal, but maybe
they've had to see some bad stuff, I'm sure. I mean, look, I was a crappy reality TV producer, and I definitely have seen some crazy things in my day. So I can only imagine what a ZZ Top band has seen, you know.
Well, where shall we begin? How about this?
Yeah.
When did you decide that this apparatus is not really for you?
Well, that's a great question. I'd say about 6 years ago, I started selling. I always created these sizzle reels, and they were really good, but they never really sold. I think after the 80th one, to be honest with you, and this involves shooting and editing and directing them. But I started selling them, and then they started selling like hotcakes. Like I sold 5 in a row that I had worked on, and then you start getting to go to the interesting parties, and then you start meeting crazy people, and then you start meeting people that oh, hey, that guy's CIA, that guy's a CIA asset. Ooh, and it's like kind of a big deal. I'm going to say 6 years ago, this was sort of a big deal in Hollywood to have everybody kind of whispered that this is a CIA contract or a CIA asset. And there's a ton of them in Hollywood, let me tell you. And we were talking about that. Alyssa Milano, Rob Reiner. We know that, and we'll go into that later, but, I had a guy that was a CIA asset that actually, I want to say he was a contractor, not an asset. Big difference. He kind of was trying to recruit me into it. And I was thinking at this point, hey, this would, my dad was a Vietnam vet, Marine, really tough guy. And I never served my country. So I thought the CIA was a good thing. I kind of wanted in. Luckily, they didn't choose me, apparently. Maybe I answered questions wrong through this contractor. So that didn't, strike me as odd. But then when I saw who this guy really was, this guy had questionable rape cases on him. He had told me about situations where he looked at underage children. So once that happened, and then I started working for other people that were phenomenally rich, hugely rich people, right? And these people would sexually harass women. These people it got to the point where I knew that I was done. It was over. And I struggled for work for that 6 years because I just didn't want to have any part of this thing anymore. And then I kind of started editing from home, so I wasn't around it so much, and being a video editor and learning how to do that. And then I started listening to you and watching your YouTube channels and watching 4 or 5 hour videos, and knowing that at some point I was going to be helping expose this thing too. Now I didn't actually start exposing really anything, getting serious about this till probably right after my last project, which would have been May or June of 2019. And then the Hollywood Defector started. And that's kind of sums up my career and why I'm here and doing what I'm doing. I definitely want to wake people up to the corruption and how it's all linked. There's a lot going on here. It's really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a lot of notes here.
Yeah.
And so let's go from the most luminary of the naughty boys, shall we say, to put it mildly. Let's start with the disgusting Weinstein, and then we can get on with Epstein.
This is great. This is so important. I love that you wanted to bring that up, because we're going to talk about how I think how Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, how their cases are really quite interesting. Let's go back to Weinstein. Who repped the Weinstein victims? Okay, it was Gloria Allred, right? And then who repped the other side of the victims of Harvey Weinstein? David Boies, okay? So now they're are they teaming up? We don't really know, right? But Gloria Allred is always in the photos, always holding hands, right? Always holding hands with victims and hugging them on camera, right? This is all a lie. She's been accused, and we know this, and I sent you some articles, but she has been accused of silencing these people. So these cases of Harvey Weinstein are terribly silenced. So I feel like she's a deep state employee that gets brought in to silence this stuff. Okay. Now, what's really interesting is Rowan Farrow was trying to expose this, and he got when he was trying to expose Weinstein, he wanted to Hillary was trying to block him. Well, if you look at that Twitter feed, what is Gloria Allred doing? She has got a Hillary shirt. She's the biggest Hillary supporter ever. So that makes you think, okay, they're all in on this together. Okay. Now what's really weird is now we have Gloria Allred representing or somewhat representing all these victims of the Epstein case, right? Okay, and then you have David Boies involved again on the other side of it, right? And now but yet in the Epstein case, we have so many people, so many victims that we hear of, but we only heard one name, Prince Andrew. We even saw in an interview, Gloria Allred silence her own client from saying Bill Clinton had anything to do with molesting her or raping her. It was amazing. These people are put in to silence these victims, and I'm not even sure like what victims are real and what victims aren't. We know that there was so much rape going on at the Epstein Island and with Epstein, yet what was it, Andrew? Was it Prince Andrew doing everything? Is he the only bad guy in this case? These people are being silenced, and it's crazy. Oh yeah, and then they say Alan Dershowitz. Like I think Virginia Guthrie says that Alan Dershowitz is also another guy that was behind raping her as well, which is a pure blackmail technique. And I have a feeling that Dershowitz has secret emails that expose a lot. He said this 2 years ago. He said it a year ago. He hasn't brought it up much. But I tell you what, while this whole impeachment trial is going on, Alan Dershowitz is here right now. And if he brings up those secret emails, a lot of people are going to be in trouble. Let me tell you. I've sent you the Epstein list of these are just some of the guests that were on Epstein's Island from the original 2007 case of child trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein. And these names are insane, okay? We're talking huge celebrities. We're talking Will Ferrell, Jim Carrey. You're talking about Jay-Z, Beyonce, Barack Obama, Alec Baldwin, John Cusack, Lady Gaga. You got, I don't know if I said Beyonce and Jay-Z. I'm not sure if I said that, but there's Katy Perry. There's a ton of celebrities on these lists, and nobody's talking about them. It's amazing. Yet we do know that through the Miami-Dade County courts, public records, that these people were in fact on the flight logs from the Lolita Express to Epstein's Island. Now that information should come out at some point soon. That is a great awakening, and that's what I'm waiting for.
Do we really believe that? What do you think?
Yeah.
Murder, and it didn't go the way Epstein or his handlers planned. Number one, an actual murder, because the guy who was on duty is the one who hadn't been talked to. The last time I read anything about this, the one guy who was in charge of being there mysteriously hasn't even been interviewed. Oh, that doesn't tell us anything, right? So, and then
I've heard so many stories. I've heard so many stories of so many people that were part of it. I've seen some people holding up the Illuminati symbol that worked at the prison, that were behind it. There's been so many names brought up. We don't even know who's guilty of it. I'm not sure what the case is there, and I hate speculating on. Is Epstein is he dead? Is he on some island somewhere? Like, it's so hard for me because I have no idea. It's the craziest thing, you know?
There's a picture of Tulsi Gabbard standing there in front of the White House, I think it is, doing her little triangle.
Yeah.
What's up with this broad, you know? Okay,
so this is what's interesting about Tulsi that people don't really talk about. A lot of people, I got a little backlash by posting that on Twitter. And a lot of people say, oh, it's a Hawaiian symbol of like earth and peace and all this stuff from where she is in her native home of Hawaii. Now, Tulsi grew up in a cult, okay? People don't even talk about that. Her and her family were in a cult. I can't even, you could find the information online. It's not that difficult to find. But Tulsi is a manufactured candidate. We have WikiLeaks. I've exposed it on my Twitter account. We have WikiLeaks emails that are with her and Podesta, that Podesta's behind her. She has, that guy's the most disgusting human being on the planet. We all know, right? John Podesta.
No, what do you mean?
Well, he was Hillary's campaign manager. I mean, this guy is involved in a lot of bad stuff. And then also we have vote vets being a part of that too. And you know what vote vets is? It's this this kind of BS Twitter account and BS company that's trying to get people to vote for vets, which would be voting for Tulsi Gabbard, which is basically a George Soros funded organization. It's insane. So what we're seeing with Tulsi, you're just seeing a mirror image of Hillary. That's all you're doing, but you're seeing more of a robot version. She's more of like an Obama, a gray streak in the hair and everything. That's what I kind of consider Tulsi to be.
But now she's supposed to be suing Hillary Clinton for $100 million plus over whatever that. There it is, right there. Yeah, here it is. I got it. It says right here. It's dailymail.co.uk. Tulsi Gabbard sues Hillary Clinton for at least $100 million, claiming 2016 loser smeared her and ruined her 2020 Democratic campaign by calling her a Russian asset.
Yeah.
This is some smokescreen, my brother.
My man.
And you know, I didn't want to say smokescreen. I wanted to say the thing about that thing that stands out in the field, sticking people with his horns. This is smokescreen, my brother.
It's just, yeah, it's like, hey, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? You know, it's so true. Like, I got to tell you, Tulsi is it's so funny. When I first watched Tulsi, she's kind of pretty. And I was like, hey, maybe the Democratic side has this interesting candidate, you know, and she seemed well spoken. And then I started realizing, well, she was just like Obama. These are robots. And then you start looking at what she's saying. It is so robotic. It's unbelievable how MK Ultra, I would say that she is, as well as Obama was. Obviously, I think Hillary is like a top witch. I don't think she's so MK Ultra. I think she's a crazy person.
Well, but closely to what Barack Obama says, he speaks quite a bit, but he doesn't say very much.
Bingo! I drank the Kool-Aid. I was one of those. I drank the Kool-Aid back in the day. I was an idiot. I had a friend that said to me earlier in the day, he's like, do you think he's just selling snake oil? And I'm like, I don't know. I go, no, I don't think so. And then I think by 2009, I figured it out.
Man. I would have thought that this was just I know that Hollywood's a strange place. I lived up in Laurel Canyon, specifically that place for, I don't know, altogether, probably 5 years.
Wow, you did a nice place.
Yeah, well, all you did was you go up Laurel, right?
Yeah.
And you go past Little Laurel, and there's a Canyon Country store there on your right.
Yeah.
Bring you a bottle of ice cold vodka at 11 o'clock on Sunday night if you want it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that store.
It was a long time ago, folks. No big deal. I didn't just sit there and drink it from the bottle, Not often, anyway. Kidding. Make a left on Lookout Mountain, right there by Houdini's house.
Yeah.
And then hang a quick left on Stanley Hills, and go up the top and make a U-turn or a hairpin kind of a U-turn and cut back right by Birdhouse, the little gal that was on 8 is Enough, the grandmother, one of them up there, called her place Birdhouse. And then Denny Myers is one level up, who was the director on Joe Dirt. And so I wasn't on the top, I was on the second tier, and then there was the other one, and you look off the balcony in Mulholland Drive over to your right. I mean, it looked like a little model railroad town, with the night scene. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But there was always this creepy feeling that you really don't know what happened right here on the ground where you're walking your doggy, as Vincent Hanna said.
You ain't kidding.
You can get killed walking your doggy. Yeah, you can. And there's a lot of blood soaked into that ground out there. There is no doubt about it. Then my son went up to the Wonderland School for a week.
Oh.
And he was always a sharp little cat, because they were doing some mods on this other one. And anyway, he said, Dad, that place looks like a military installation. The door jams, the way the doors are set and all that. Well, come to find out, it was a military installation. It was some propaganda film production company or some damn thing, So,
Hollywood is crazy. Yeah, it's a crazy place to live. And it was built on. It was this place. It was Hollywood land. It was for the Satanists who worship trees. That's what it was built on. When you look back now and you research this, you go, what the hell was I thinking as a kid? Thinking that, not as a kid, but as an adult and growing into the business and moving to LA and thinking that was a cool thing. No, it wasn't cool. So glad to be done.
Wow.
Yeah, very happy.
The thing about it is, there was a house a couple down from us that they'd have these once a week meetings. You never heard any music or any noise come from there. There were a lot of cars, 30, 40 cars, which is not an easy place to park up there. So they're lined up and down the street. And nobody would, you'd run into somebody every once in a while you might be walking your dog. You'd just say, what's going on? You know, well, you got a party going. Nobody would say a thing about it. Nobody would tell you why they were there. They said nothing about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't even talk to you. And you couldn't press them or they'd get that look on their face and kind of hurry up getting the key into the door there so they could drive off. So I didn't push it, but there was I don't know what was going on there, but whatever. They didn't look stoned.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the next, what was that bunch that decided they were going to catch up with the comet or the flying saucer that was in the tail of the Hale-Bopp comet or something. His name was D-O-H.
Right. That's crazy. I got invited I remember this one girl that was a really cute girl that I was kind of hanging out with. She invited me to a party with this celebrity who he's also a musician and I'm a big fan, huge musician, a huge celebrity. And she was like, well, I want you want to come over and hang out and meet him? I go, yeah, sure. That sounds great. She's like, I got to warn you, he likes to hang out with young girls. I'm like, well, how young are you talking about? She's like, no, like teenage girls. I said, why would you want to hang out with teenage girls? I don't understand that. He's like, oh, think about it. And I went, no, I go, I'm not going. I have no interest. I'm like, this is disgusting, just to think that that's even possible. And I kind of like put it out of my head. That was actually more like 8 years ago. And I kind of completely put that out of my head. And, by you bringing that story up, it kind of made me remember that, like, obviously I stopped listening to that guy's music after that. It was disgusting. I can tell you his name if you want. I don't care. But Jared Leto. Jared Leto, the actor. He's won I think he's won Best Actor, that kind of stuff. He's in a band called 60 Seconds to Mars. This guy, and now I gotta reiterate that that's what she told me, and she was friends with him. So I didn't see it firsthand. So I have to always reiterate that if I didn't see something firsthand, I can't speak on it that it's truthful. But I thought that was a weird story for sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah, really I'm telling you. He does, and he is pictured here. And Jared Leto, I will tell you, he is also a big fan of Marina Abramovic. You know who that is, right? The 666 spirit cooker woman. Yeah. He loves her. There's tons of videos on YouTube where he's just like gushing over her. He goes to galas dressed like in a Illuminati garb. He takes all the Illuminati sort of photos with the all-seeing eye and doing all that kind of stuff. The guy seems very, very heavy into this. He's pictured and very friendly with a multiple convicted pedophile as well. That's very famous. That he is a devout friend to. So we know that when I tell you that story, what I just told you, all these other things kind of make sense. That it seems a little more accurate.
Well, it's not much of a stretch to imagine that, like any theater company, it's a giant theater company. I mean, you know how that goes, the summer stock and so forth. There are people hooking up all over the place. So it doesn't surprise me that they're special and they're talented. And you got at least it's presented to us as you got the most handsome men, you got the most beautiful women and so forth. So they're all out there mixing it up and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think anybody's aware of the kind of guns that they hold to people's heads to make them do what they want them to do in the sex department.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, those chicks all act very strange, like they had something bad happen to them, except for the ones that are patently evil in their appearance. And, just their tongues are practically flashing around like Carrie's did when he turned in that thing, his eyes popped out.
Yeah.
They try to shoot him in the mask.
Right. I got something to tell you that I think that I don't understand how people aren't aware of, that I'd love to discuss if that's okay with you, John.
Sure.
Okay, so what I find fascinating is I've done these links to, if you take that Epstein Island list from 2007, from the original child trafficking case. Now, this list was provided by Alan Dershowitz. I believe that some people aren't on that list. This is a flight log provided by the flight logs from Lolita Express to the Epstein's Island. So we know that they're legit. We don't know that who traveled by water, but we look at this list of celebrities, and I can pinpoint this. I could link a lot of those celebrities to Marina Abramovic in photos. Now, that's what scares me is that, okay, if you're on Epstein's Island and you look at that island, boy, that looks like a satanic cult of a place. It's got all the trimmings of it. Like, I mean, you look at the keystone of the Epstein, everything looks very satanic to me or very occultish. So look at the celebrities. Look at James Franco. We got Katy Perry's connection. We have Will Ferrell. We have Beyonce. We have Jay-Z. We have Lady Gaga. We have John Legend, Chrissy Teigen. We have all these celebrities, right, that are in both places. Well, that's enough to scare the crap out of anybody, if you ask me, that these people who we're told are these celebrities and we're force-fed this info about these people are rotten to the core, my friend. It's disgusting. Yeah. And why would you be on Epstein's Island? Why would you be at a Marina Abramovic's spirit cooking and be happy about that? Like, this is insane. You know, we live in an insane world. It's crazy.
You know, I popped off to Scott. This fellow was doing some PR work for me out there in LA that you're not getting much action for all this energy you're spending. And he goes, yeah, something's going on because a bunch of these guys are really excited to get you doing this stuff. And then I haven't heard a thing from him. So he happens to be down at, he's retired now. It doesn't matter anyway. He was in Steve Tischerman's office. He's the guy that represented a whole bunch of guys like, Don LaFontaine for one, the biggest voiceover trailer guy ever, you know, the icon, known as In a World.
You sounded like him when you said that.
Yeah.
One man, one city.
Yeah.
He was I love that guy.
Yeah, between him and another guy from the Dallas area, they had everybody doing that. Oh, stand by. You know, it's just like whatever. Anyway, Scott's standing there, and Steve says, he's already made millions of dollars and's had a brilliant career. What a shame. Now, what kind of a thing is that for your agent to say to your PR guy? What it means is we cannot control this guy. Therefore, nothing will happen. Yeah.
And thank God for people like you and you know that there are people like us that we can't be controlled. You know, and I was fine with it. I was fine with not making it big as a producer. I could give a crap, you know, at this point. I'm very happy that we didn't sell ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were out there, like, do you still run your agent, like have agents out there and that whole thing?
I got some independence, and I just I don't have an association with a big agency at all. I've been with William Morris in New York, William Morris in LA, Tischerman's agency, almost what was it, ICM, one of them, but that didn't happen.
Yep.
And then another one, Sutton, Barth, and Venari, I think was the other one. I never made anything happen there either.
You ever have those meetings at William Morris in LA where you walk in and all the people like that are like the male people and the lower level people, they all pop up and look at you and wonder if you're somebody big, and then at the same time they're all robotic. They go down to their desk like this. It's such a robotic place. That place freaked me out, being at William Morris Agency. That was one of the places I feared going the most, and never was a fan. And UTA was weird. It's weird with the William Morris Agency. Have you ever been to the office in LA, John?
Yeah, over in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. So when you walk through that office and you walk in, it's like everybody's such a robot. All the people to the left the lower level people that are trying to make it in the agency all look up at the same time, and then they look at you and they don't recognize you, and then they slowly look down all exactly at the same time. Everybody's so robotic when you go in there. It is the weirdest, most freakiest place. All those big agencies are so creepy. Even CAA. If you look at the landscape of CAA, looks like a satanic cult. It's unbelievable. And UTA too. I've been in those offices as well, and I've done work with William Morris back in the day, and just never a fan of going into that creepy ass place. My two thoughts.
Even the guys, they I had a lot of people out there that in the crews, lighting guys and camera guys, and I mean, we weren't friends. We were there to do a job. That's it.
Yeah.
And as time went by, and the months went by, and then after a while, a couple of years went by. You get to be acquaintances. Somebody might even come over and on a weekend or something and have a burger or something, but that's about it. However, when the director or anybody else walked around, they just went from being a person to being a robot, just like you said. And there were a lot of people out there that see, it was not good for me to be in LA when George Bush was president, number one, and also be from Texas myself. That wasn't working for him. But I didn't even vote in the 2000 election because I didn't vote absentee. I didn't get ahead of it, and I was busy, and I just kind of forgot,
Sure.
Because I was not a fan of it.
Well, you were too smart to vote during that election is what really happened.
Well, really, Gore or George W. Bush, it was going to be the same outcome no matter what for the country and the world. Just, Gore would have just been a bigger a-hole, although I don't really know at this point how that's possible.
I think it would have been the exact same situation, probably. I think when you have those guys that are running, like, for example, we think of like President, I put up a Twitter post about this, President 43 and President 44. So you have George W. Bush, and then you have Obama following him. And, I made a post about this, and I said, 43 and 44 are related by the Rockefeller family. They're 10th cousins, once removed. So like, it's funny, they're all cut from the same deep state cloth at that point. It really just didn't matter back then as it does now, which thank God I'm happy with that Trump is our president, because I feel like at least, we're all waking up to a lot of things, and I think he has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was strange. There were a lot of people who wanted to be friends out there.
Yeah.
But we couldn't be friends.
No. Tell me why. What was your thing?
Politically poisoned. You know what I mean? Just because it gets around. I mean, it's such a small circle out there. 2 phone calls and you're done.
Yeah.
So, I just decided I'd had enough with it after 5 or 6 years. Just came back to Texas.
I got in so much trouble when I lived in LA, and I talked about Hillary basically praising racist Senator Byrd, and after his funeral, and Obama doing the same thing. Nobody wanted to believe me, and I lived in a place on really close to Laurel Street, or Laurel. Is it? I guess it would be. You're in Laurel Canyon. I would be on like just Laurel in West Hollywood, downhill. So, but I lived in a very, so I lived, close to Fairfax, I guess, right there. And Sunset. I lived right off of Sunset. But it was like a Melrose Place apartment buildings where you go out and you hang out by the pool, and everybody loved Hillary. Everyone was crying, all the snowflakes, getting so upset when she lost. And I'm like, well, she wasn't into gay marriage back in 2004. Well, there's no, that's a lie. She's always loved the gays. I'm like, well, she's also a racist. She doesn't, she praised a KKK member. Come on. Nobody ever wanted to believe any of this stuff, about Hillary, and like, especially the being Arkansas-sided and all that. Nobody in that town will even lift a finger to research that info. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But they get so angry. And I just wonder if it's in that weed that they sell. is it in the chemtrails? Where is this stuff coming from where these people are so stupid? I have no idea.
It's really true. It's almost as though they're spraying the place with special chemtrails there,
Yeah. Well, there's a ton of them there. If you look over West Hollywood, I mean, boy, there was always a grid every day, an incredible, well done grid. It was like almost like a work of art in the chemtrail business. And I don't know too much about chemtrails, but what I do know is if you look at the 1996 almanac of soil samples from 1996 on, when we've started seeing chemtrails in the air, the soil's definitely different, and it has those same poisons as what we have heard that would be in the chemtrails. So that's the basic thing about chemtrails, is that we do know. We can look at a basic almanac from 1996 and we could see what's going on.
Aluminum dioxide is great for your plants. Don't you know that?
Come on. I've never seen my fruit look so green.
Tastes a little bit strange, but it's
What's
good.
Going on?
Look at it. It's beautiful. Oh, boy. So what about, wow. So was Weinstein just an abuser, or was he kind of a wheel out there? He wasn't acting as would he even have time to act? It seems like Epstein's job was full time, is what I'm getting at. Was Weinstein just a recipient of this stuff, or was he, one of the operators?
That's a great question. I don't know. I never had anything to do in the movie business, since I did crappy reality shows. That was kind of my business. But what I gather is that, this guy just, he was behind the evils. You need evil guys to be able to work for you, to be able to control them. You need guys that are sexual deviants. Those are the best ones to control. We look at, how the CIA was formed. They loved, getting sexual dirt on people to control CIA assets and CIA contractors. Weinstein was very controlled by the money of Disney. We know that. So him, having sex with women and saying, hey, just come up to my room and all that stuff. I'm sure all that stuff is obviously true. Was he something that he's definitely involved in the deep state. The guy was given a medal was given a medal from Obama. So we do know that he's absolute deep state and he is somehow connected to everything. But was he a throwaway is my question. Was he someone that they didn't care about? Because they certainly let him, they certainly let him go. They definitely silenced his victims, but maybe there was so much trouble with him that it was bound to get out. I don't really know. And Epstein was much bigger of a force than Epstein was a much bigger force than Weinstein could have ever been in a much bigger aspect. Weinstein was more on the movie side. Epstein was obviously in the, control of everybody. They wanted to get dirt on everybody with Epstein, from what it seems, and what that whole, and with being with Maxwell, it just all makes sense to me.
Wow, man.
What do you think? You hate Weinstein. I love it.
Well, I just look at this guy and I can imagine what it'd be like to see him, in 3D moving around and work in the room. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But when you got that kind of power, that's what you're going to do. I mean, I don't think people are.
I've met a ton of Epsteins. A ton of Weinsteins. Weinstein. I've met a ton of Weinsteins in LA. That's so normal, and the girls know it. The girls will hang out with him and they'll give a little bit here and there just to hopefully get, something out of it, to get some sort of like meeting with an agent. But there's a ton of that. You can go to any bar in West Hollywood and Beverly Hills, or not Beverly Hills, but in the West Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, you'll see the same thing. It's crazy how much control they have, and they live that life like that. They're okay being sexual deviants, and being, they're probably on puppet strings, and they love having girls on puppet strings as well. It's disgusting, and I think I've seen that way too many times, and that also was a big deterrent for me to get the get the hell out of Dodge.
Now, speaking of corpulent men, Rob Reiner,
Oh,
CIA contractor, asset with the Russia Investigation Board with James Clapper, also defrauded California for $23 million from a preschool for all scam. Is this true?
yes, sir. Now, Rob Reiner is an interesting character because he's one of those guys that I really tried to take a look at because he's so loud. And when you're such a liar on Twitter, and you're a celebrity and you're just absolutely lying about about Trump and his and everything that he's done, like I look at that as being unfair to especially to be of a celebrity. And then I go, okay, well, he must be so loud he's got something to hide. And I had to dig a little. You have to dig a little bit into Rob Reiner. But yeah, he is on a Russian investigation board with James Clapper. This is purely a CIA contractor. And I sent you the document, right? It's insane. Like, look at the names.
It kind of suggests he would had a closer association than your average guy sitting there with Clapper.
Yeah. And the $23 billion kindergarten for all scam that defrauded the state of California out of $23 million in tax money. And when when I think it was the officials in San Francisco started seeing that this looked like a previous scam from a guy before with an insurance scam, they started raising red flags and they tried to get him in trouble. But all of a sudden, what did Rob Reiner do? Deleted his emails. So, and for some reason they couldn't find him. So they didn't do a thorough investigation. Obviously, we do know he was protected, by the powers that be, from the deep state powers and being an asset. So I think he owes them a favor at this point, and that's why we're seeing Rob Reiner be so loud, and that's why he is ultimately a meathead.
Sometimes if I'm sitting there on the riverbank and I'm not catching anything with the worm, sometimes I'll take that hook and put a piece of Twinkie on it. And look at that. Look at that. He likes the Twinkie. He didn't like the worm. I got him. So I threw something out in an earlier conversation with a young woman and just asked about Robert De Niro. And I've mentioned Robert De Niro several times over the last weeks.
My man.
And I'll just run it past you very briefly. And that he was all in with the Vaxxed movie at Tribeca Film Festival. And then he pulled the movie and almost instantly went into, I'd like to bust him in the face. He's every name in the book he's throwing at President Trump. And I'm thinking to myself, what's the vested interest in going out there on the clothesline and jacking your jaw like that, Bobby? What is it? So what is it?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
It's a couple different things. Let's start with the most important one that I think that there's a huge criminal investigation going on that nobody knows of. I don't know why. And you have to search for this thing. Now, the Hollywood Reporter did do a report on this, so that was what's impressive. So there was a Malaysian government official that embezzled $1 billion, not $1 million, $1 billion. And it got fed into Robert De Niro and the Wolf of Wall Street movie. Now, I don't know what movie in Hollywood or in this world cost $1 billion. I've never heard of it, never seen it. But this money was embezzled into that movie. The criminal investigation is going on, and it's very, very big. The Department of Justice is all over this case. So that's why you're seeing him get really loud right now. He's in a lot of trouble. And this is just one thing. But what's really interesting is a lot of celebrities, like Leonardo DiCaprio, were involved in this because it was Leonardo DiCaprio's production company that purchased the film. So it holds a lot of people in trouble. And De Niro, I think in an article said, everyone's going to get paid back. I ain't worried about this crap. I think that was one of his, that wasn't exactly his quote, but that was what he was trying to say. You want to hear something else about De Niro? Okay, so, and you have to dig for that story, by the way. If you punch in De Niro money laundering, you'd have to add a couple more words. You have to really look for those articles. There's a few of them. But what really gets me too is beyond that. And are you from a place called Barbuda? It's a great island in the Caribbean, and it was in 1834 the slaves were set free and they were granted this land. It was a beautiful resort place. I guess Oprah goes there and De Niro and all these people would go there. And it was a fully functioning island, but it was the people's island. It was for the descendants of the slaves. It was their gift for all the problems that had happened. It was a reparation, and these people were doing fantastic on the land. And there was a resort, and it was great. Now, DeNiro, and through some of the political powers that be in that area, made back alley deals, and DeNiro was somehow able to purchase this resort. And then Hurricane Irma came and ripped up the place. But DeNiro had purchased so much land that really wasn't his land. Okay? I mean, almost like we're talking about almost the whole island. So the 1,600, after Hurricane Irma hit, the 1,600 people that lived on that island had to flee the island. 100 people have come back. They live in tents. They live in destitute. He basically, this is a land grab. This is a DeNiro land grab. And basically what he's trying to do is wait for all those people to just have a mass exodus off that land. And then he'll build his resort that I believe it's called Paradise Found No Boo is what he's going to create. This guy is so disgusting. And let me tell you, Donald Trump knows about this one too. When we talk about 130,000 unsealed indictments, I can assure you DeNiro is on that list. And I can't wait till an arrest is made and that thing is unsealed, because this guy is dirt. He's as bad as they get. But I love that you asked that question, though.
What's the name of the island again?
It's called Barbuda.
Barbuda, yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful place. I've never been, but I heard it was incredible.
It'd make a great black site too, wouldn't it?
What's that?
Make a great black site too, wouldn't it?
A black site? I'm sorry. What's a black site?
Black site. It'd make a good black site. Black site where you take people you don't want to know where they are, and nobody else knows where they are either.
Yeah, I never heard of that term. I'm gonna write that one down.
Yeah.
But who knows with DeNiro? He's just such a weirdo. And we definitely know about the 1998 French incident with the child trafficking case of him, renting prostitutes that may have been underage, and that has been swept under the rug. But that is a case from 1998. I like to look at stuff more current, which is what's going on modern day with DeNiro and all his money laundering scams. And did you know DeNiro's father apparently was like this famous artist? Did you hear about this thing? Not even famous. Nobody's ever heard of him, but I guess he painted all these paintings went missing and they were worth millions of dollars. Come on. How could his father's paintings be worth millions of dollars? I've never even heard of them. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but is that an insurance scam on DeNiro's part? What is this guy not into? This guy he thinks he's a gangster because he runs with celebrities and he runs with deep state clowns. But I think he's going to soon find out that Gitmo is not going to be very good to him. I pray anyway.
Wow, man, that's absolutely amazing.
Isn't that deep stuff?
Yeah, it is, but it doesn't surprise me at all. His father, I think, if I have the story right, his father was homosexual and not very successful. And I want to say he moved to France or something. And Robert tried to help him, but his father wouldn't accept any help from him. He wasn't doing very well financially. I don't even remember where I got that, somewhere on the net. Pretty sure it's easy to find. So
his father wasn't did have paintings worth gazillions of dollars then, if you ask me. If that holds true, that doesn't really it doesn't make sense to me anyway.
Well, maybe Robert is just so special that because these are his dad's paintings, they're worth all this money. Dumber stuff happens every day. That
could be it. That could be it. And I think even DeNiro was at some party recently a couple months ago, and they call it like, oh, it was the big to-do. It was the Malaysian it was the party that DeNiro was throwing with all these celebrities, with Jay-Z and Beyonce being there. And this was just a couple months ago for the Malaysian money scammer, the money embezzler. Isn't that crazy? He just threw a huge party for him.
Just threw a huge party for him.
Yep. To the government official of Malaysia who embezzled all that money, and all the celebrities showed up. It was like it was a big write-up. It was unbelievable. These people,
Alyssa Milano, CIA asset contractor and dark money.
Yes. Alyssa Milano. Yeah, that's a lot to say. It's a mouthful, huh? So Alyssa Milano is quite an interesting character. Basically, what we're seeing from her is you got to dig on her. She's a tough one, right? But we know she's part of this group called, have you ever heard of Future Majority?
Yeah.
Okay, so Future Majority, it's a $60 million non-for-profit political group that gets people and celebrities to basically get people to, you pay celebrities from the deep state funded to sway their fans and the public because they're popular on Twitter, they're popular on Facebook, they're popular on whatever, and they're celebrities. So Alyssa is part of that. She's also, and that's what we call the dark money, because we don't really know where this money comes from. I assume it's more on the deep state side. She also, what's really weird is we wonder, is Alyssa Milano a CIA asset or a CIA contractor, but maybe even an asset, because, you know, when I worked in TV, we love to have these, what we called an attachment when we sold a show. So if I were doing a show and I wanted a big name, but a big name that knew something, like, for example, I was doing a show and this is sad, I even bring this up, but Virgin wanted to get into the TV reality business when it was really hot. So they wanted to do a deal with us. So having them as an attachment would have been an enormous thing because it would have been played on planes or I don't know. But they wanted 70% of the profits. It was something insane, and I don't think nothing ever worked out. However, the CW a few years ago was trying to work with Alyssa Milano and a couple of the producers because they wanted to do a show called Covert Affairs, right? And it was about getting people to using like a CIA asset that was popular in the media to generate global social change. And it was going to be done for the right reasons, though. It was based on her hacktivist style. So what we do know is they try to attach Alyssa Milano. You don't attach somebody like an Alyssa Milano to a show like that unless she has extreme ties to the CIA, which at this point we're starting to realize, yeah. I mean, her husband, is he's an agent at CAA, Creative Artist Agency. There's a lot going on with this woman. She's got a lot of problems, and she's crazy. Anybody who's lying that much, she's got some issues.
I don't, especially now. It was bad enough when I was on the open airwaves. Anybody could pick it up anywhere, but I don't know which is less discreet, the question or the potential answer. Seriously, but what do you know about the Office of Film Liaison?
That's a great question. I've been asked that question before, and I haven't really dug in because, I've heard just very bad things. That's all I've ever heard. Even when I was working in Los Angeles, kind of one of those absolute taboo places. What do you know?
Say that again.
I said I kind of one of those absolute taboo places. But what do you know? What do you know about it?
Only that what was her name? Fitzhenry, her first name.
Tiffany Fitzpatrick or Fitzhenry.
Yes, Tiffany. That's it. I had her on the program some months ago, and she mentioned the Office of Film Liaison, and no, wrong. In a roundabout way, I mentioned this fellow named Chase Brandon, who wrote this book called The Crypto's Conundrum, who's ex-CIA man and all this stuff, and he came on with me on Coast to Coast AM one night. And got to talking, and he got my number and called me, and so I'd talk with him every once in a while, I thought he was somebody else. It's been at least a year and a half, but I thought he was somebody else. I didn't have my glasses on, so there was a letter. There was a random letter in his name, Chase, and I thought it was something else that starts with a CHA. Anyway, he goes, "How are you?" I said, "Good." He goes, "Everything okay?" I said, "Why wouldn't it be?" Then I looked again, and I said, "Is this Chase Brandon?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm sorry, man. I didn't have my glass on. How you doing?" Well, anyway, we just shot the breeze about stuff. He doesn't have a very good outlook on the future of the United States as far as the civilization actually being able to hold itself together. He thinks there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But in talking with Tiffany, his name came up because his cousin is a very well-known actor. And another one of his cousins is a very well-known musician.
Okay.
And so anyway, the long and the short of it is this. Tiffany said, well, that's the head of the Office of Film Liaison. That's the CIA's office that oversees anything that has to do with weapons, military, or CIA. I remember seeing an article with his name in it. So, I mean, I'm not letting any secret cat out of the bag here. It was right there on the web.
Right.
That he looks at these scripts to make sure there's nothing that would cast the agency in a bad light or this or that. But I suspect he's looking for 3 days of the Condor stuff, you know.
Right.
There's a real story in this fiction somewhere, and it's a good enough story it'll get you killed because it's an op that's already running, you know, stuff like that. And so CIA is all over the place, and it always has been from the early days of propaganda right up through the MK Ultra inspired mind control. It seems to be working pretty well on what they would like for us to believe is half of the American population, and I think it's far less than that. I think the left is about like this, and normal America is about like this. However, by the time the MSM finishes spinning it, it looks like it's split exactly down the middle. Well, it's not.
Mm-hmm. And for a while there, didn't it seem like it was 80? It was almost like a 90-10. Yeah, like the media could spin anything. They were able to make the whole world love Obama. They tricked us all. Like, I think that, you know, it was just a matter of time before people really started waking up, I think. And it's insane. So you interviewed Tiffany Fitzhenry, right? Fitzhenry. I get her name wrong. She seems like she has a lot of info.
Yeah, she is, and she got out of there pretty quick. She said that she was sitting there with her agent and her manager or whatever, and said, they're waiting to hear you say the words, "I'm willing to do anything." And she goes, "What?" And he goes, "They're waiting for you to say the words, 'I'm willing to do anything.'" At that point, I think she started packing and heading east.
That was exactly what was told to me by the CIA contractor. You know, you're answering the questions wrong. Let me just tell you that. That was what I was basically told, and I kind of got it. That's when I started kind of wising up, and not being, you know, because I'm very before being woken up, I'd say that I was very easily influenced, for sure. Obviously not now, but you know, I think at those moments, those are kind of special moments where you go, okay, now I get what's really going on in the world. You know, crazy. But that's kind of scary for a girl to be in that meeting in a place like that and to experience that. I couldn't imagine being in that spot. That's weird, you know.
Well, you know, everybody knows this. And I don't care if it offends the feminists. Where are they anyway when it comes to any actual women's issues? They don't exist. Even Gloria Steinem said it was Bravo Sierra. Okay? This is some more smoke screen, my brother. You know that thing.
Yep.
Women are hunted. They're hunted. If they're pretty, they've got all the guys are looking. I mean, they're trying to, you know, figure out if there's some way to make a completely androgynous race of people. So I guess everybody will be turning on everybody, just like it's written in the Bible, you know.
Yeah.
The women were enough, so the men went for each other, you know, that thing.
Kind of like packs of gorillas, you know, like I guess you know, the head gorilla wants to control the population and have only his male you know, his male kids. So he controls the women, and then the other gorillas start engaging in homosexual activity. You know, it's kind of like one of the things that happen in the wild. And it feels like that's what's going on now, you know, in a weird way. That's what's always going on with the three main bloodlines of the Illuminati, down to the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. it's kind of always been this. They are the gorillas. They want to control the bloodlines, and they always have done that. That's why we see President 43, George W. Bush, and Hussein Obama being related.
And Tony Blair and Al Gore.
Bingo. It's insane.
I can't prove it. I just know that it's been said enough times that it's either urban myth now or it's true.
Well, now we know. It's unfortunate. Like, I think we could have said it was urban myth 20 years ago, and we thought that. But now we're starting to go, this stuff is real. It's unbelievable.
It is.
You know anything about Oprah?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, hold on to Oprah for a second.
Sure.
Kindergarten for All, $23 million Rob Reiner fraud?
Yeah. So, he was creating this campaign that was going to be, that they needed money to do TV ads, okay, for this Kindergarten for All campaign for, for a political movement, politician, so to speak. And this was all a huge money grab on Rob Reiner's part. As well as, the political regime of California that was behind him. So this guy is massively connected. And $23 million, that's a heck of a lot of money to defraud the taxpayers of California. And you know what? They're going to we're seeing Rob Reiner be so loud because these money launderers, DeNiro, him, they're really going to be allowed to protect themselves. Because that case can easily be reopened. I don't even know if the case was dropped, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a case from quite a few years ago, but I want to say maybe like 06 is when it actually started. But it was dropped pretty quick. But I think that this thing could get brought back up, and it should. It should. These people should be held accountable. I think when we make arrests, we should take the money that they embezzled, the money that they stole, and rebuild California, rebuild that state, rebuild or do things with it that give it back to the people that they defrauded. I hope they do. Look at oh, go ahead.
Go on. No.
Oh, look at Nancy Pelosi and Lube Capital. I mean, look at all these people are funneling money into Lube Capital, and you know what Lube Capital's made bases? The Windy City of Chicago, the most corrupt place, runs Lube Capital, and I mean, I don't know if it's hundreds of millions, but I'm pretty sure it is. So much money that these money launderers like Pelosi and Schiff, Obama, Hillary, they're running this with Lube Capital. It's crazy.
And what's the name of the company? What Capital?
Lube Capital, LOOP. And it's in Chicago here, and it's kind of like more of like in Chicago, it's more seen as this like more black organization, black non-for-profit.
Okay, LOOQ.
LOOP, like Loop, like Chicago Loop.
Oh, gotcha. Loop
yeah.
Capital. Okay,
yeah.
All right, I got it.
I'm going to tell you, Chicago. I live in Chicago, and Chicago is the people. I hope this comes out. Chicago is, we've all known how corrupt this place is. This is the center of corruption. A lot of things funnel through here. Lube Capital funneling through here is one of the biggest things. And I'll probably get in trouble for saying that. And I am not suicidal, if anything, if anything happens, just so you know.
Man, this might be a good time to ask the question.
Yeah.
What makes you want to come out on the clothesline like this and talk about this stuff?
Because I don't have any fear. I am not afraid, and I think it's time to be blunt, and I think it's time to use blunt force trauma with that truth. I just feel like it's time. I'm tired of. I sat silent in Hollywood for all those years. I sat silent. Our whole lives I sat silent anyway. I always knew something was wrong and something was different. So this is an opportunity to tell the truth. And every time I ever wanted to create a reality show, the only reason I ever got into reality shows is because I love doing documentaries. I love telling the truth. And when I created these shows, I was always stifled to create this false narrative that happens to this character. And then, I'm not getting paid union wages to write. I'm not a writer. Like the show I created, Hollywood Hillbillies, it says I was a writer on the show, writer-developer. on the show. I'm not a writer. I created reality shows, and I chased people with cameras, and I shot what was happening to these really interesting people. So when my whole life of a career of TV was creating false narratives when it was something I completely stood against, now I'm creating a true narrative. So I think one of the main reasons I wanted to finally come out and tell the truth about things is being in TV for 25 years and being stifled and being told to force false narratives. When I was a documentary guy, I liked holding a camera and shooting really interesting people and the things that were going on in their lives and telling the truth. But Hollywood always made me change things and put things in and put this character in and fake things. And I wasn't getting paid. We were non-union in reality show TV. I wasn't a scripted writer. I'm not a writer. So being told to tell the truth for 25 years probably angered me. And now I want to tell the truth with blunt force trauma and as much as possible. And I'm not afraid of anybody, and I'm not afraid of anybody coming after me or anything like that. I could really give a crap. And that's the truth.
You know, the most dangerous guy is the guy who just doesn't give a bleep.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching an interview with David Icke, who's an interesting bird. And he said the same thing. Like, he just doesn't care. And he's not afraid of anything. And I think when you have someone who's not afraid, they will they'll expose the truth, but they'll tell you the truth. They're going to really focus on not lying about anything. They're not here to scare you. They're just here to tell you the truth. And it might be something you don't want to hear, but they're going to say it.
Let's just bounce around because I keep you got a lot of notes here. And
sorry.
And it's great. Don't be sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm jubilant.
Sure.
Tulsi Gabbard, vote vets, John Podesta, and George Soros. What do they have in common?
And Hillary Clinton.
Oh, and Hillary Clinton. and it's all part of the WikiLeaks collection.
Yeah, the great Julian Assange helped expose that for us. So we know Podesta's linked to Hillary. He was Hillary's campaign manager. We also know that through WikiLeaks that Podesta was funding Tulsi Gabbard. So that is a fascinating fact. We also know that Tulsi is with Vote Vets, where the Vote Vet organization wants you to vote for a vet, which would be like a Mayor Pete or a Tulsi Gabbard, mostly Tulsi from what I understand. We do know Vote Vets is linked to George Soros, which is even more interesting. So these four are all linked together. So it's so funny, John, when you brought up that Tulsi was suing Hillary for $100 gazillion. I thought that's pretty funny because you're right. It's so much smoke. It makes me laugh.
I'll tell you, there's just no end to it, is there? All right, so now the most radical thing I ever heard on Oprah Winfrey was by accident because I never watched the program and I was channel surfing. And this is a long time ago. And she was on the phone with some guy who claimed that he sounded extraordinarily incandescently gay. And he had killed some guy who had abused him or something and confessed this to her over the phone. Everybody's sitting up there crying and everything.
Wow.
And I just thought, wow. And now she's in a position of being accused of promoting a child trafficker, child murderer.
Correct.
The promotion of a person who would do such a thing?
Yeah, well, it's crazy with Oprah. And here's the thing, I grew up in Chicago, and my mom and every housewife in Chicago worshipped Oprah Winfrey. Her ratings were through the roof. I mean, I think she was probably getting, on a national level, probably 18, 20 million viewers a day back then. When I grew up in the mid 80s, late 80s, she was the biggest thing. Like, my mom could not stop watching this woman. Everyone talked about Oprah. I even got my mom Oprah tickets to be on the show, and my mom was mad because it was an episode on the aftermath of 9/11. So my mom was really pissed because it wasn't like everybody gets free stuff day. But anyway, getting off that topic, I always thought that, these women worship this woman. There's something wrong. If all these people worship you, that's not a good place to be in. You have to constantly remind people that I don't worship you for you. I am on this air for you. I'm not on this air to be worshipped. Now, Oprah never says that, does she? Not at all. But what's funny about Oprah, Oprah started this South African school for girls because she wanted to help young girls become successes. Well, that place now is plagued with molestation charges that you can look up. It's unbelievable. Well, that's one thing with Oprah that we find kind of odd, right? Here's another thing that we find odd. What the heck was she on Epstein's Island for? She's an Epstein's Island visitor, right? Okay, well, that's two things that I see with Oprah that strike me odd. But the weirdest one for me was, you know, we've seen these miracle workers from other countries and other places on TV, and most, you know, we all know it's BS. These people are not working miracles. But Oprah puts her name on the line and promotes this guy named John of God, okay? This guy's a healer. And she does episodes promoting this guy, John of God. And it ends up being that John of God ends up being the spiritual advisor to Bill Clinton and Hillary as well, which is interesting. And money was also, I want to say that there was some sort of money exchange with the Clintons and John of God as well. But John of God, not too long ago, I want to say it was probably less than a year ago, has been arrested with 600 allegations of owning a child sex slave farm. And do you know what he did on a sex slave farm? This is, bringing this up, I get sick to my stomach and nauseated talking about it. But this is as dark as life gets when I bring this stuff up. 600 allegations of women that this was a child sex slave farm. They would have young women get impregnated to only have babies, and they would sell the babies, John of God, for $40,000 to $45,000 per child. And then after 10 years of these women giving birth, the women were murdered. They were no good to the sex slave farm. So John of God would have them murdered. Hillary was an avid supporter of this guy. It's insane. So what do you think of that? Have you heard anything about this John of God character, John?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have all kinds of allegations of abuse and rape and coercion of all kinds, psychological trauma, physical trauma, everything in the book.
It's insane.
Some of these guys really get crazy with it. I mean, just like Epstein. I mean, who knows if somebody. By the way, you don't drink your beer from a beer stein. Why are they always saying stein? You know, it's Epstein and Weinstein, and they're all going Weinstein. It's like, these stupid Americans. Anyway,
I say it's Stein too. I'm sorry.
I called him Weinstein myself. So look, I'm a stupid American sometimes too. Just want to qualify that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Interesting, right? Yeah, but the John of God thing, and you know, I have friends that work. I have a friend that works very closely with her, Oprah, and the guy's an angel. The guy's the greatest guy I know. The guy was my mentor in TV. You know, taught me a lot of great things, taught me how to be creative, taught me how to deal with stress. He was an amazing, amazing guy. And he's the nicest person you've ever met at the same time. And I just wonder, he must not know. He must not know anything that's going on with Oprah, because you cannot be that nice of a guy and take the money and just say, it's okay. I work with the devil. I'm going to take the money. He's not that guy. I think that you can get that brainwashed. It doesn't take that many people to run these bad operations. There's probably people that are higher ups that have no idea what their boss is doing and how dark they are. That's what I've kind of learned by working in the business and working with people.
Well, there's only one reason why Marina Abramovic and Lady Gaga and Katy Perry, and we had her dad on one time. I didn't even know why the guy came. She's going through it. And then when he came on the program, didn't want to talk about her at all, which I suspect is because somebody told him, you better keep your mouth shut.
Why did he called you?
Like a riding traveling preacher or something now. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, he called you? Wanted to be on your show?
Yeah, or one of our guys reached out to him and he said, yeah, sure. And he was going to talk about this and that. But then when he came on, he just made it clear he doesn't want to talk about Katie.
Well, I could tell you what he probably was going to tell you. But I think, because I think, he was a traveling preacher and she grew up with wanting to be a Christian singer. But somewhere along the line, she definitely signed a deal with the devil, as she has said herself in interviews. And what's really disgusting is, Katy Perry has a music video out that Marina Abramovic directed, and it's disgusting. Like, she's getting, people are eating people, and they're like, it's all about like chefs prepping people, and she's in a bowl of soup being eaten. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's a Marina Abramovic directed video. So I bet you he probably really wanted to tell you something that would have been probably incredible to hear him speak. I would have loved to take that interview, and if he was going to tell the truth, but someone definitely got to him.
Yeah, you never know. They could have said they'd harm Katie.
Big time. Yeah, that's all it takes. I think if you say that.
Yeah, somebody threatens your kids, you're going to do what they say.
Yeah, yeah.
Until, of course, you figure out a way to kill them. Did I say that out loud on the program? Yeah, I guess I did. Oh, well. What you see is what you get, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's too bad, but Jay-Z, Will Ferrell, and James Franco. I mean, I like some of these people. I think Will Ferrell is just a genius lunatic.
That was a hard pill to swallow, wasn't it?
No, not really, because that's what people need to understand. What you see on the screen is not what you get when you get into the character of the actual person necessarily. Gary Cooper said it himself, decade upon decade upon decade ago, probably pushing certainly the better part of 100 years ago. He said, Hollywood stars are not made according to their own talents. They are acted upon by external forces, and people would do well to remember that. So he was trying to tell us, but he couldn't tell us very much. And of course, he was sleeping with every woman on the set,
Yeah. I know Tony Soprano used to, on the Sopranos show, what about the Gary Cooper? He'd always say that, like they used to write that in. And I never even knew who Gary Cooper was till I had to look him up from the Sopranos episode.
He was a real steady, archetypal, according to Hollywood. Yeah. And really, it was an accurate depiction. He had the looks and the demeanor of a steady, solid American male. Moral, strong, reserved, but deadly if you screw around with him too much. Now, he'll get you. But it has to be a righteous killing, of course. But that's just kind of the way it was. It was truth, justice, the American way, and very respectful to the women and all that stuff. And that's what he wanted to do. Same thing.
Yeah.
And he had a few girlfriends too,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Every time I turn around in LA, like people would want to pitch me a show on, this is John Wayne's grandson.
Oh, yeah. We had him on the
program. He's got 100 of them.
Yeah. This is some smoke screen, my brother.
That's exactly what it is. It's insane. It's funny, but what I kind of hope that happens, and I don't know how this doesn't happen, but this isn't a projection or a speculation, but this is what I guess in my hopes that this great awakening that really people could understand the truth of Hollywood, what I call Hellywood, and with the deep state and with this absolute corruption that we see and we talk about all the time is, this case of impeachment would be really interesting with Dershowitz being put on the forefront of this thing and people wanting to say, well, Dershowitz is guilty of this Virginia Guthrie, rape. And then he comes out with the secret emails that exposes everything and exposes that sluggishness. So while this impeachment is going on here, we're telling you this real story that's just coming through the full surface of absolute Hollywood corruption and all these disgusting pedos that visited Epstein's Island and how bad they are, including Bill Murray, including John Cusack. They were also there. Eminem, he's on that list. Crazy. So that's kind of my hope. I think that would be really become the Great Awakening of, these celebrities have lied to us for so long and they've been used to create the smokescreen that I think it's time to expose them now and let that dust settle, and then we can see the corruption beyond the celebrities. But we have to expose the celebrities, I believe.
You're going to know exactly what motion picture I'm talking about. Starred two famous guys. And at one point in this picture, in case somebody hasn't seen it, I don't want to wreck the picture for them, but at one point, there's a courtroom scene. And suddenly the judge has the jury switched with another case that's about to start down the hall. And there was a big objection. It's like, just do it. Switch the juries.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been vetted. Just bring that jury in here, put this jury out there. And because they knew that the jury was stacked in favor of the person on trial. So he goes, what did you tell him? I told him his name was on the list. His name's not on the list. But the old boy did it anyway because he just happened to not be on the list, but his name should have been on the list. It just wasn't. I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of that, which leads me to this question, and it'll explain what may sound like some meandering here.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Epstein and no dead man switch, really? The one witness, the one guy who was stationed there, hasn't been spoken to. And then they call in the guy, Baden, Michael Baden, isn't that it? Who certified, yes, President Kennedy was killed. His wounds are consistent with a single shot to the back of the head.
And he's 80. What is he? He's almost 90 years old, Baden. Did you ever see the guy? The guy barely walks. Like, how did that guy do an autopsy?
Well, seriously, and how is it that every time there's a questionable and astoundingly shocking death that's got real serious political implications, like a dead president, for example, or a debt procurer for the Washington elite and others, this guy shows up to do the certification as to the cause of death. That's very interesting. And there's Epstein lying on a gurney, and he doesn't look dead. A dead person looks dead. I've seen dead people before, and they don't look like he did. Yeah,
I thought it looked very odd, the first photos that came out on the gurney. Yeah.
Who took the picture? And why the picture? They can get a picture of that, but damn it, the video footage is gone and has been destroyed, according to the government.
Unbelievable. And then they had the wound photos that just came out where you could see the wound on his neck. And they were just close-up shots of the wound, which I thought was interesting. There were leaks on Twitter that got banned, but it showed video of Epstein's body laying down, like when they found him, cameras came in to shoot his body, and it got leaked all over Twitter, and now I can't find them anywhere. And I saw it. I was on a job site working. It was crazy, and I saw it. I'm like, and I was trying to show people on the job site, and just as I was trying to show them, gone, deleted from Twitter. It was that fast, but it did leak, and I saw it. I saw the body.
They did the same thing with the Kennedy assassination down here. There was a little garden area right there close to Elm Street with a hatch in the floor of a port with no cover on it that went way down, at least 20, 30 feet. A long ways down with this big, U-shaped rungs, iron rungs sunk in the wall, and it connected that storm drain over there, the one that the cop had his bike laid over in the street next to it, was looking down. Everybody's seen the picture. And that's exactly where the rifleman was, because Elm Street curves right toward that thing. And as you see the cars go down, now it's been leveled out a little bit. It's had several layers of street put on it, so the rake is not quite as much. The dihedral is not as great. But when I saw it, when the car curves toward you, and then if there was somebody sitting in the back seat, their head would be above the windshield frame line, the horizontal top part of the windshield frame.
Okay.
Clear shot, you would not have had to go through the windshield at all. The head would have been sticking up there for you to shoot at. It would have been like shooting fish in a barrel. Easier, in fact, because the way the shots hit him was once, twice. It was just like boom, boom, which would be boom, boom. So it was just boom, But one guy got him in the neck and the head.
Right. Right. I've always struggled with the Kennedy conspiracy because it was like so many stories like to fish through. I was never good at pinpointing that one or trying to figure out. I just get lost, kind of like with 9/11. It was very similar for me. 9/11 was a real tough one. We've been digging in those forever, though, right? Those got us started.
Look, the whole thing was given away by BBC with Building 7 standing in the background. The guy saying, well, Building 7's fallen down, and the damn thing's standing there, and then they lose the transmission for an hour, and when they come back, it's gone now. Nobody says anything. The American public says bleep all about it, and I don't understand why. They seem to get jacked up about the wrong things,
Yeah, absolutely. It makes no sense.
The reason this goes on, ladies and gentlemen, my considered opinion, meaning I dwelt upon what I'm about to say a long time, it can only be one thing, and that is we permit it. We permit it. We permit all of this. You know that thing in the Bible, have I not told you you are gods? Okay. Maybe Lord Jesus meant we're in God's school. Creator's creating all the time. He's nowhere near finished creating. That's what he does all the time. And I was told by the special channel, once something starts, it never stops. It never stops. It will change into something else, but that motion is continual. It's like speaking. You say a word, and that word exists from now on in this realm, and more to the point, in the spiritual realm as well, which is why there's going to be an accounting. Well, why so simplistic? Why so stupid? Well, what's more simplistic than having to hit the bathroom every morning at a predictable hour? Can it be any more simplistic than that? This is a necessary function that a human being must perform, and if the human being doesn't perform the morning bathroom trip, well, the human being will eventually die from this not being performed. It has happened. The children have died from pretending they're drinking in a bar, and they're drinking shots of water. One of them will die because they've drunk too much water. These things happen. What I'm saying is it doesn't have to be some sophisticated, oh, it's so intriguing. It's beautifully elegant. I'm so enlightened. Well, yes and no. It depends on what you're prepared to receive.
Mm-hmm.
But this is simple. It's simpler than any of us think. Evil exists because our faith as a people, as a nation of people, is not strong enough to prevent it. Well, it's always going to come at you. Yeah, but it doesn't have to overwhelm your civilization to the point that from the top to the bottom, there are so many rotten places that you're amazed the civilization will hold together at all. I mean, trafficking children and killing them.
It's unreal.
Ladies and gentlemen, once upon a time, a single murderer, even a single murder in some cases, would shock the entire country. Like I remember a guy named Richard Speck. He murdered 9 nurses. Oh my God, it was the most depressing thing, and black and white photographs and all this chaos and mayhem and carnage. And people were just like sick about knowing about it. And the Tate murders were the same thing. Sharon Tate murders. That was like a real, but we've had so much of this. What is it we're going to see, bro? 40,000 graphic murders from the time we're born to the time we're 18, just on TV. So what is being done to us is being done to us because we allow it, because we know it's bad, but we go, well, everybody else is doing it. Just like Peter Fonda said, I smoke a joint and 1,000 little men ask, what am I missing? Well, what are you missing?
Yeah.
You're going to miss
That's
the
absolutely insane. Yeah. It's crazy. Like we see the buildup of greed and evil and corruption so high to a level now that at some point we had to, I think there's a lot of us that had to raise up and stand and fight against it. And, but that, I got to tell you, that number of people that are showing faith and strength and bravery is getting bigger by the day. It's really a beautiful thing. It's a great time to be alive, my friend.
Well, the only thing I can tell you that is if you have come on this program and none of this is true, then you get a pass because you're obviously insane, right?
Yep.
And if I'm sitting here nodding in agreement with you, participating in this, well, I guess that makes me equally insane.
We're both crazy then.
Yeah, but we've sensed this for a long time. Just because we're finding out about it now, nobody's really shocked. I mean, we are, but we aren't. Nothing really surprises us anymore. I mean, when you think that your own country, from the battleship Maine, blowing it up and blaming it on the Spanish or the Cubans or whoever it was,
yeah,
World War I, there were arms on the Lusitania. The bankers wanted us in the war. The ongoing, continual Russian connection, it has never stopped. We've been like this since the Bolshevik Revolution. And before that, they helped us in the American Revolution. But now they're the boogeyman. They're the enemy, right? They have to be the enemy. Pearl Harbor was a setup, complete setup. Korea, why do the North Koreans look different from the South Koreans? Because the North Koreans are Chinese mostly. And then, of course, we had Vietnam. That was a setup. There was no Tonkin Gulf incident. Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill John Kennedy. He was a CIA O&I guy. He's
born in.
I mean, and then this deal with 9/11, and here we are in the Middle East, still there after what is it, pushing up toward 20 years now, no end in sight.
Unbelievable.
Afghanistan is very important that we remain in Afghanistan. Hell, the Russians are pretty tough cookies, and they split after 9 years, going, "This is a dead end." You know, and some people have said, well, they went in there to crush the heroin trade. And others say, no, that's not true.
They went in to steal the heroin trade.
Well, it's sort of like
as well.
I'm not denigrating any of our guests in any way whatsoever. They do what they do, and they say what they say, and they make their money the way they make it. But where's the big economic collapse?
Yeah.
Where is it? We've been talking about it we've been talking about it off and on this program for 6 years. And I've been hearing about it for 4 years on top of that. So, okay, in the last 10 years, Hammer was going to drop at any moment. Well, it's still up there.
I hear that fearmonger statement. I still hear it all the time.
Well, people get sick of it, you know. And so when I get a chance to talk with someone like you, and that's not often because I haven't talked to anyone like you, not about this. I mean, I haven't. But I get a chance to talk to you, and all this stuff starts coming out, and some are prepared to receive it, and some people aren't. But we can all agree on one thing. We know damn well it's true. We know it is. We've suspected it. We've sensed it. We felt it. We know it's true. We're just not interested enough to do anything about it. And even if we were, what would we do? Organize and march to Weinstein's office or what?
Well, that's what's interesting is we don't have to do that anymore. We can be digital soldiers. We can explain the truth. We can research these things. We can get a chance to go on Caravan to midnight and get the chance to expose these things. We are so strong. It's an amazing thing. We don't have to join the Marines and fight this war. God bless anybody who does. I mean, I'm a patriot through and through. My dad was a Vietnam vet and the toughest Marine I've ever known in my entire life, and I've been raised to be the ultimate patriot. And this is what I do, and I think there's a lot of people that are going to start doing this, and I'm really excited about it. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for that, because frankly, this is the only thing that I ever really wanted to do. This is the longest continual job, other than voiceover work, and then that was just. That was like night and day and night and day for like 25 years. Now, I'm still doing it. There's a big
you love it, don't you?
I do. It's a lot of fun. I got a big arena show coming up this next summer. I thought it was over with after I did 19 out of the 20 years that they put on this program. But it looks like, and I'll just announce it now, there's this thing called Beyond a Sensation.
Oh, I want to go.
Yeah, and it'll come to Amsterdam again, and yeah, those guys can't give it up. They love it too much, and it's too fantastic of a spectacle. You have never seen 35,000 more beautiful, well-behaved people in your life as at a sensation presentation at the Amsterdam Arena.
Really?
Typically, it's held the first 2 weekends of July. They did a white edition and a black. The black was hard style, everybody dressed in black, and the white edition was a little bit more celeb, a little bit lighter, not much. I mean, it was still boom, boom, boom. It's still tech, but they're all dressed in white. There's all these people just getting along and having fun. No fights, no. I think there was one fatality. Her friends didn't look after her, and this girl, I think she must have taken ecstasy and got dehydrated and just died.
Oh, that's
That's
terrible.
the only one that I know of, and it's sad because she didn't go there to die, but her friends didn't look after her, and she was at the point where she couldn't look after herself, and they let her die. And everybody was crushed. I mean, the whole town was crushed over it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Go that way, but anyway, I digress.
So so this has been your one true job that you just absolutely love doing, and it's been the most consistent thing, probably because it's the thing you love the most, I bet.
Well, it's good. I mean, I've read so much stuff. It's unbelievable. I actually had a website for years. It's johnbwells.com.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's about to come up again. But
good.
I thought, look, this is not really right. I'm going to put the whole body of work on there, at least in lists or something with lots of demos and just, I mean, what the heck? Somebody may be interested in it, and that you never can tell. Somebody may need a good voiceover guy sometime.
Well, that too, and you're also, what you're doing, John, is you're rewriting the history books right now. Every episode that you're doing, everything that you're writing on Twitter, everything that your producers are writing on Twitter, all the truths that we're telling, we're rewriting this history that has been an absolute lie. Just like you mentioned with all those wars and why they happened. By us exposing this and keeping all these things relevant, we are the future history books. They're going to talk about this stuff. I think that's why I do it. One of the biggest reasons too.
It's the reason people wrote books and made pictures to, tell a good story and leave something behind. Now it's just turned into this big thing. There's so many, the margins are so low because there's so many people doing it now that you don't even have time to dwell on a really spectacular piece for long before there's another potentially spectacular piece coming along. But still, the cream rises to the top. And after, 1,000 movies have been listed on just Netflix, for example, there's only a half dozen that really stick in your mind.
What do you think of? And what do you think of that? What do you think of the majority of Netflix is owned by, George Soros? Like, how can you even? These people didn't even do deals with Netflix. You're doing a deal with the devil right there. It makes me sick to my stomach to think that.
Yeah, well, I don't like it. I mean, I like a couple of their programs that they run on there. There's one called Ozark about money laundering.
Oh, I call it the Hillary and Bill story, how they got started.
Yeah, well, I wonder if the screenwriter had that in mind.
I always tell people that they go, that's pretty much true. I go, I don't know if they started out evil, but they became evil in the process. But that show is addicting, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is.
I hate that I do like that show, and that's probably the only. I don't watch any TV. I'm just like a researcher at night, so that's all I ever do.
I research at night sometimes by watching TV.
There you go.
Seriously, I like Ray Donovan too a lot.
Is that a good show?
Yeah, I think so.
That's cool.
It's a Liev Schreiber.
He was great in that Manchurian Candidate. I just saw that for the first time because I did it for research because everyone said, you got to see that if you're into what you're doing. You got to see that, and I was pretty blown away.
John Voight's in it too, and he's an outstanding patriot, and
love him.
It was really something else. You see, when he was drying off the chairs, he went and got a towel and dried off the chairs after a little rain shower, dampened the seats of the Gold Star mothers, and that's what he was doing. He was up there by himself with a towel drying their seats off. I mean, that's John Voight. He's a hell of a man, I think.
Yeah, I always look for celebrity patriots. But, they're tough to find. Like, I feel like Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn might be closeted Patriot fans rooting behind the scenes for truth and justice in the American way. I feel like that. I don't know if that's true, but Scott Baio is like a really great patriot. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy.
There were a bunch of them out there. I mean, in the musicians realm, there were even John Lennon was really far more right wing than left, and Johnny Romano was. Wait a minute. Johnny Romano.
Yeah.
Romano. No, it's Gene Romano. He's a restaurateur. Yeah.
I thought it was Paul Romano. Nice.
Yeah, Johnny Ramone was a conservative guy, and a bunch of them.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to like old Zappa videos or watched old Zappa videos? Oh my God, that guy was exposing so much. I can't believe what he was exposing. He was exposing like chemtrails in I think it was like probably the early '80s. It was unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
That guy was way ahead of his time. How he knew all that stuff, I'm blown away. He must have really knew some high level people that wanted to tell him some stuff.
He did.
Got him in trouble.
His dad was attached to something government related. Let me see something here real quick. Brought up.
That's interesting.
Here. Wow. I wonder if that's really true. Frank Zappa's father was the actor who played Mr. Green Jeans on the Captain Kangaroo children's TV show. I don't believe it. Frank Zappa, the greatest conspiracy theorist in music, the Laurel Canyon conspiracy. Did the CIA create the ... I wish they wouldn't do that to me. CIA hippie mind control inside Laurel Canyon.
Wow, and you kept on bringing up Laurel Canyon and all the blood that's soiled inside that dirt. So kind of funny that, not funny, but interesting how that comes back to this.
Well, this is, yeah, I was afraid it was going to be about him. It is. CIA hippie mind control inside Laurel Canyon with Dave McGowan. Did you know Dave? Well, he didn't say this straight out that we were responsible for it, but he passed away from cancer. It's a few years ago now, and he had come on the program talking about Laurel Canyon and all the weird stuff that went on up there, and naturally that's the place that I just kind of showed up at. Hey, let's live here, right?
Right.
I didn't know anything about the lore of the place or anything else. I just thought, Laurel Canyon sounds great. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
You got Coldwater Canyon, but that's down there, But he said he began to get sick shortly after he was on the program.
Yikes.
And he's gone now, and I really hope that I don't know very much of tradecraft, but I do know this. There are times when in your life when if you didn't cook it, you don't eat it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you there.
Yep. Sorry about that, but
I think, was that a warning to me? Like in case I run into any issues, I think I'll be okay.
Well, look, this has been a rollicking conversation to say the least, and I know there's a lot more, but we could always do a part 2 if you want to. Yeah,
I'd love to. I'd love to work with you guys again. This has been awesome.
And let me see here. I don't. Okay, JR's got your contact, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got my cell phone and everything.
All right, good. Oh, I got it right there. All right. I got the same area code as you, and it ends in 777. So
yeah.
Same area code as your number here.
Yep.
And,
gotcha.
And mine ends in 777.
Gotcha. And also, I'd love to plug my Twitter account if that's okay.
I think you should plug everything that you want to right now.
I like to read, followers are great, but I'm definitely into retweets. If you're putting out great truths, I definitely want more people awake. So I just like that if people can understand the truth and get a chance to follow and retweet good stuff. But my Twitter account is at MikeWolfpack100, and I am the Hellywood Defector. Gotcha. That's me.
Hollywood Defector. All right, you got me?
Yeah, I got you, buddy. I'm gonna text you and give you my info.
Well, look, I don't want you to tell anybody where you are. I really don't want you to.
Okay.
But we should probably talk offline about some other stuff and between the two of us determine whether or not we really want to put this out anywhere, if it's too soon or if it's going to screw up some operation that's going on already. I mean, I don't, I've used this.
I think what's done is done. I'll be honest with you. I think what's done is done. There's nothing I can say that, I'm just hoping this stuff comes out. I don't have insider information. And if I did, I wouldn't expose it, So, but what's done is done at this point. The path is laid out. Everyone has shot themselves in the foot on the bad guy side. It is what it is. I'm not concerned. I'm certainly not afraid of anybody. I can tell you that.
Well, yeah, I get that sense about you. Well, the only thing is I wouldn't want to sometimes just by asking a question, one has just overturned the apple cart. The horses have broken loose from it, and they're running down the street knocking people over. And all you did was ask a question. So that's what I meant by that. I don't want to do that 3 days of the Condor thing and accidentally wind up talking about something in theory that's actually running. That's not good. All right. So we can find you on Twitter at Mike Wolfpack 100. Yes. Yes, sir. The Hollywood Defector. And I love retweets. So anybody who's listening to the show or watching the show, retweet anything that you think is good. Share it with your friends. Okay. Wolfpackpictures.com. Yeah. Oh, Mike. That was my email, but I don't have a website or anything like that. No, right. I just plug the Twitter account. I do all this for the freedom of mankind and the future of humanity. Well, I'll tell you, that's a noble quest. Happy to ride forth on this quest with you. Thanks, my man. I'm on the Caravan to Midnight quest. It's been amazing. My favorite show. That I can't believe I'm on it. To be honest with you, it's incredible. You can see that picture Insomnia with Al Pacino and Robin Williams. I haven't. Well, Robin Williams is a creepy suspect, and Pacino is a cop with trouble, and so he starts getting calls from this guy in the middle of the night. He says, "You're up at midnight." He says, "Yeah, what do you want?" He knows what's going on. This guy's contacting him because they're going to play a game now, right? And he says, "Midnight, too late for yesterday, too early for tomorrow." And I like to say, somewhere, it's just about to go midnight. Somewhere in the world, Nice. I used to watch this show when I was, going through my issues and going broke in Hollywood 6 years ago. I used to just watch every night around midnight, and they would carry me on. Sometimes I would watch, the long 3-4 hour, I love the longer ones. And when you would interview guests, it felt like I could tell every question that you asked that guest would be the exact order of questions that I would have asked to get the information out. It was unbelievable. I found this incredible thing called Caravan to Midnight. So such an honor to be on, really. Hey, Mike Pack, thank you so much for coming on. It was really great to meet you and talk with you. And thanks for being a supporter of the program and even knowing about us and most of all doing the work that you're doing, because it says right there in Scripture, Ephesians 5:11, take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, instead expose them. And that's what you're doing. So thank you so much, John. I so appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it. You take care out there, and we'll talk, all right? You too, my friend. Take care. You too. Well, that's it for this episode of Caravan to Midnight, everybody. And what an episode it was. And the only thing I can say is something I've already said. We sense that this was the real story. We just didn't know how far people would go. I mean, it's one thing if you want to play Pokemon, so to speak, with this one and that one and the other. But when it gets to be a business and it's life or death and you're destroying lives and so forth, well, you've gone over the line. It's gone from naughty to just downright nasty, and we can't permit nasty. So take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness. Instead, expose them until there are no more unfruitful works nor darkness. A day will come. I don't expect to live forever, but we will. You will too. But what we do now will determine where we live forever. I kind of wish you'd trust me on that. If you don't, maybe one day you will. God bless and good night.